happen at some point is there'll be arrests, and that'll include a lot of the line media, and then there'll be military tribunals.
Hasn't that been, they keep saying that for
Well,
years, and it's not happened.
It hasn't been years. It hasn't been years.
It's been since 2017. It's been years now.
Believe me, we're taking it. This is a 6,000-year-old death cult.
So you may recall earlier in the year, Republicans thought that Donald Trump was magically going to become president on March 5th. Now that day came and went, but the strange thing is that Republicans continued to believe that Donald Trump will in fact become the president by some force of magic, apparently. Now you might think that a lot of Republicans have stopped believing in this ever since March 5th, that more Republicans have come to reality and realized that Joe Biden is actually the president and is going to stay the president. But the number of Republicans that believe that conspiracy theory has actually grown over the past several months. Just a few months ago, about 22% of Republicans thought it was somewhat or very likely that Donald Trump would be reinstated as president. And now that number has shot up to 28%. Nearly a third of Republicans at this point think that Donald Trump is going to be reinstated as president. This number is shocking. What little democracy the United States has is currently under threat by a bunch of Republicans who would love to see a military coup or some sort of violent insurrection led by these fascists. Because let's be clear, the conspiracy theories around January 6th, the conspiracy theories around what they think the deep state is, and their conspiracy theories around how Donald Trump will become the president all really establish the main components of essentially every foundational fascist mythology that has come to be. You see, when fascists take power, they typically have some sort of underlying mythology that they create that justifies their taking power. Usually something about rigged elections, usually something about, secret cabals of certain individuals. All of these things are very, very common that fascists use to justify their taking power.
You surely can admit that the people who stormed the Capitol were Trump supporters.
No, I definitely cannot. In fact, you're talking to the right person, because I can send you tons of footage that shows that was all the left dressed up, the Antifa, the BLM, dressed up as Trump supporters.
It's also important to remember that it doesn't even really matter if these Republicans completely believe everything. It just matters if they're willing to say they believe it. Like, for example, when it comes to January 6th insurrection, a lot of Republicans say that they think it was Antifa up there. I'm going to go ahead and bet that most Republicans don't actually think that, but they're willing to lie and say that they think it was anti-fascists doing the insurrection because, and here's why, part of their foundational myth would require targeting anti-fascists. So they need some sort of excuse to, if they ever get into power, explicitly target anti-fascists for political imprisonment, fake tribunals and kangaroo courts, all the typical things that you would see in any type of fascist rise to power. So it's a convenient mythology for them. And so this is where it's important, is that you need to understand that debunking these people is not going to work. There's nothing you can do to debunk it. They actually don't care, for the most part, whether or not what they're saying is true. What they care about is whether or not what they're saying is useful to their cause of bringing about some sort of extreme right-wing militaristic government in the United States. And this is what is very important to understand. This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can catch my show Galaxy Brain on the Young Turks Twitch channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with my content.